Hey, you're hanging out in the Link Up Lounge. I'm Tiffany Mason.
And I'm Donna Ruppel. Around here, we believe success isn't just about what you know, it's about who you link up with. This is your lounge for turning one link into endless opportunities.
Donna, it blows my mind that the two of us have over 30 years of combined networking experience.
I know. We've built businesses, expanded networks, and created unstoppable momentum, all through the power of strategic connections.
AKA networking. And now we're here to guide you to do the same, starting today.
So let's dive in, connect, and start making moves you didn't even know were possible. Welcome back to the Link Up Lounge. I'm Donna Ruppel, your Nocatee real estate expert, and I am here with my co-host, Tiffany Mason of Virtually You, the boutique podcast management agency.
This is your lounge for turning one link into endless opportunities. And today we're talking about how those links are made. In person, on Zoom, in DMs, what works best? And how do you show up with confidence either way?
Here's the truth. You don't have to choose one style of networking, but you do need to know how to show up differently depending on the space, for sure.
Exactly. Virtual and in-person networking can both open doors, but how do you make an impression, build trust, and follow up? Totally different energy.
So today we are breaking down the difference between networking in real life versus online and sharing simple ways to be effective, authentic, and of course, unforgettable in both.
I like that you said in real life, like virtual networking is not in real life.
Right? It's in an alternate universe. Yes.
It's in person. Anyways, whether you're walking into a local event or logging onto our virtual meetup, we want you to feel prepared and powerful. So let's talk about it. Let's get into it. How do we do it, Donna?
Yeah, let's start with in person.
Okay.
That probably, I say let's start with that because it's definitely my favorite way to network.
Ooh, me too.
Feel like there is no replacement for in person. And
Yep.
I mean, there's just something about being, eye to eye, face to face, a handshake, eye contact, being able to really read body language in real time.
Well, it's almost like a real conversation versus text. Right? You
Yeah.
get so much
Yeah.
more fulfillment, so much more from an in-person conversation versus a text.
Yes. And you can tell when somebody's really into what you're sharing, by the way they're listening and leaning in, despite all the other distraction that may be in the room.
Also,
And
I don't think I would reply to an email if somebody was standing right in front of me. But if I'm on a virtual call, I might reply to an email quick.
oh, yeah, 100%, right? And I also think like in person, you can read like if they're not really into what you're talking about. You can
Right.
read that too. They're looking around the room for somebody else to talk to, or they're trying to they're starting to move away from you already, And like when they're trapped on a Zoom, nobody can do those things, right? They're like
Right.
stuck there. So I do think that there is no replacement for in-person networking. And, during COVID years, we all went virtual. And then I feel like now, like in the past year, I'm going to say, I feel like we're finally back to like in-person meetups being the main thing and in-person groups. And everybody loves the convenience of Zoom, but in person, there's no replacement.
Well, they say that we're all energy, right? And we all buzz at a different frequency or whatever. And so when you walk into the room, that energy speaks before you do. So that's why we really want to help you guys to be confident and know what you're going to talk about and have that power statement, all these little tricks in your back pocket. Because when you show up and you're confident and you have a positive vibe, that is attracting. You're attracting people, right? So we want your outfit, your posture, how you carry yourself. We want that all to be on point because it matters and people can sense it. And, that could be the difference between a door opening or not making a connection with someone. So I love the in-person. I love talking to someone. I love complimenting them on something that's going on. And usually I feel like, when you network in person, it's a one-to-one conversation. And when you're online, it's 1 to 15 or 1 to 20. You don't get to have those personal conversations. So
Right.
I agree. And I agree that you're probably right that we are really kind of back to this in-person networking.
And small things in person can leave a big impression. So, being on time to the event, I definitely notice when people walk in 20 minutes late to like our events that Bond and Beyond puts on.
Yeah.
It's like I definitely remember exactly who comes in, 20 or even 30 minutes late. I'm kind of like, the event started like 30 minutes ago and we only have this much time for networking.
Yeah.
Okay. So being on time, remembering names, which is my struggle bus. We all know that. I've talked about that in previous episodes. So I'm big on name tags. Following up after the event is huge. You go, you get all these cards like we've talked about. How are you following up? What is your system after an event? Because if you just keep going to events and events and events and events and events and you have this pile of cards somewhere and you're not following up, you're kind of missing a big component of your in-person networking. So it's the little things that start to build trust, when you meet people and, your outfit, your confidence, being on time, remembering names, follow up, all those things go into the cake. If we're baking a cake, those are all the ingredients that go into the cake. So it actually rises and it actually looks good. And, you can just keep buying all the flour you want, but if you don't mix it up, it's not going to make a cake, right?
Yeah.
So all those things matter.
Well, let's talk about outfit for a minute. It's not that it has to be designer. It's not that it has to be trendy. It needs to be clean, ironed, and probably match your business. I know we talked in the past about the floral company and the girl who wanted to wear scrubs, and her business partner was saying no. And I think that's the other thing. I always think when I show up, like I can show up in my Virtually You t-shirt and it's got my little slogan on it and my logo and it looks great and it's branded, right? Or I'm always like, should I show up in like a nice dress or, should I wear something more professional? But I think at the end of the day, the t-shirt is the more appropriate choice because it says my business, because it displays my brand colors and all that kind of stuff. It really speaks volumes for me and my business. But also, I can't show up with that t-shirt, like, all wrinkly.
Right.
It's like
Right.
a hairdresser that doesn't do their hair. Like, do you not care
Right.
about your business? Like, you
Right.
are the walking billboard for your business. So if you want people to get the right impression, even if you do show up confident and all those kind of things, I mean, your outfit is going to say something. It doesn't, like I said, it doesn't have to be name brand or super trendy or anything like that. Just clean and like you care about yourself, like you respect yourself and your business.
Mhm. Mhm. And, on the other side, on the flip side, overdressing, I think, can work against you,
Yes,
because
ma'am.
then people think, "Oh, they're so, whatever, that they're unapproachable," right? And you
Right.
don't wanna come off like that. I know that, my husband is an attorney, and in he's so formal, okay, which is a good thing, I guess, but, when he's going to, like, a daytime networking event, I'm the one that's kind of like, "You maybe need to,
Drop the sports jacket.
you're right, dress down a little
Loosen
bit
up.
more, a little
Yeah.
bit more," because you're becoming unapproachable, and he doesn't understand that. This is a repeated conversation in our household, but, um if it was an evening dinner, okay, that's one thing, but this is a daytime coffee meetup,
Right.
okay? Like, come on,
Right.
dude.
Let your hair down a
S
little bit, loosen up the top
Right?
button.
Yeah, you wanna be approachable. You want everybody to think of you as, like, their neighbor, their friend,
Right.
right?
It's that magnetic energy that I'm talking about, right? Like, you just can't come off too stuffy and you can't come off too relaxed.
Right? Right?
Only one button, Chris. We don't need to undo two. Okay. Two, now we see you're under t-shirt and we don't want to see that.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think that
right.
actually brings up a good point also about women and, you know, cleavage. And there's an appropriate amount, right? And there's
Yeah,
another amount that goes, now you're getting the wrong kind of attention. So just be aware.
right,
Be aware of how you're
right.
carrying yourself. Be aware of your outfit. Come off professional.
Mhm.
And then you attract the right leads too. I mean, if you are showing too much cleavage, you may just be attracting the men in the room, right?
Right.
And if you're too buttoned up, you may not attract anybody and then you didn't make any connections. So,
Right.
unfortunately or fortunately, that stuff makes a big deal, but it's also easy. It's also easy. It just has to be clean, not wrinkly, and, on brand with your business.
Mhm.
Let's talk about virtual because I feel like there are more virtual rules. I don't know. That's just me. You don't get the benefit of the full presence. So your words, your tone, and your follow up need to work a little bit harder.
So before you even get to talk in a virtual meetup, let's talk about how you come on the screen because that's your first impression. So, number 1, what do you look like, at least from the waist up? Number 2,
Shoulders up.
right? Good lighting goes a
Wait,
long
I need to go
way.
back to shoulders up
Okay.
because I really do not like when someone is like relaxed or they're like really far away and you can see like their desk and up.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
we only get to see so much of you, and I wanna make the connection. So, like, even right now, you and I recording, it's basically just our heads, and that's
Right.
how I like it. I
Right.
want to see the people. Like, I'm not interested in your outfit, I am, but I'm more interested in making a connection with you, and I feel like it's so important to be closer to the camera when you're on a virtual networking event.
Yes. Yes, they wanna be able to see your face, your facial expressions, your
Mhm,
smile, your talking,
mhm.
whatever. Sometimes, you have people who are far away from the screen and they're doing something else. They're cooking or they're making something or they're I don't know what they're doing, but that is so distracting. I am just gonna say that is
Yes.
so distracting. So, good lighting, have your face be the screen. You want a clean background. So, you can put up a virtual background now on Zoom or Google Meet. If what's behind you is distracting, like I know where my computer is, behind me is typically dogs wandering around or, various activity happening. And so I always have a virtual screen because it's distracting, and it's not professional, certainly. If people
Yeah.
saw, my dogs wandering and fighting and playing and all the things. Um, and then put up a virtual background or have a good clean background. Good lighting is so important. We don't want to see you sitting in a cave, right? And then
Or
clear.
also when the sun is, like, in the corner of the screen and you just have that nasty glare and they look
Oh
angelic,
yeah.
like, the angelic look is fine, as long as you don't have the nasty glare too.
Yes, yes. And then
Don't make
obviously
me put my sunglasses on.
right? Clean audio too is important so that people can hear you and, connect. Again, it goes with the whole seeing your face, hearing your voice. These are all how we first start to connect with somebody, and you're giving an impression. You're there on a networking event to represent your business. So how are you representing your business?
There was a podcast recording that we were doing. Now, obviously, podcasting, it's all about the audio. But this lady that we interviewed, she was so far away from her microphone that she just sounded miles away. She was clear back here talking to us. And then, like, every time she would say anything, she would kind of mumble and then she would laugh. And all we picked up was the laugh. So at the end of the interview, we just scratched it. We were like,
Oh
it's not even
no.
usable. Yeah, yeah. And so that is also something that I know personally from podcasting is the reason why everyone wants to remove the filler words is because your brain starts to get distracted by it. And there also comes a point where your brain is so distracted or it's trying so hard to listen that it just says, I'm done. I don't want to, you just check out. Like, have you
Right,
ever been in the back of a room and you find yourself talking more than listening to the presenter? It's because you likely can't hear them. I went to something
right.
over the weekend. I was listening to some live music and there was a gentleman explaining things. And I really wanted to hear it. It was information about Led Zeppelin. It was information about Fleetwood Mac. And I was really like straining, like my face was like all contorted because I was trying so hard to listen to what this guy was saying. But if it would have been content that I wasn't interested in, you best believe I would have checked out in 2 seconds
Yeah.
because you couldn't hardly hear them.
Well,
So,
it's kind of like when you have a conversation with your kids and they use all the filler words, right? Like 100 times. And
yes.
after, the like third or fourth or fifth like, now you can't even listen to their story anymore because you're like,
Mhm.
stop. Because you're like,
Preston always says, "You know
stop.
what I'm saying? You know what I'm
Oh, yeah.
saying?"
Yeah, yeah,
And then
yeah. Whatever
I
their
just
filler
start
word is, you're like, stop.
I just start trying to be like kind of a jerk and I'm like, "No, I don't know." And he's like, "Oh, right. Okay. Well, cuz it'll be something about his work or something." He's like, "You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? You know what I mean?" That's what it is. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I'm like,
yeah,
no,
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know what you mean because I don't work there. So no, I don't know what you mean. No,
I
I
know.
don't.
I know. And I remember growing up, my dad used to do that to me after so many filler words. He's like, you know, you're not allowed to say that word anymore. Finish the rest of
I
your
will
story
never
without that
forget in
word.
high school, my girlfriend and I said like all the time. And my best friend's dad challenged us to call and order pizza without saying like. And it was comical because we did it on speakerphone. And the first thing they said is, "What would you like on the pizza?" And I was like, "I would enjoy having pepperoni."
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
even in the spots where you could use it, we weren't allowed to on that call. So
That's
it's kind of funny, but it
hysterical.
just goes to
Yeah.
show like the filler words are a problem. Your brain shuts down. Your brain wants it to be easy. So make it as easy as possible on people to pay attention and hear what you have to say because you're giving your time and you want their attention too when you start talking about your business.
Right.
So clear audio really does go a long way. So we're talking about our words in this instance, right? Those filler words are a problem, but also I think too big of words can be a problem. So there is somebody that I know and they like to use really big words. And I personally, I'm a big fan of new vocabulary words. So honestly, I start writing them down. I start Googling them. Like I want to know what does that word mean? Also, I don't know that word. So now I just stop listening to what you're saying because you used a
Right.
word that I don't know what it means. And now me personally, Tiffany Mason, I'm so excited about the new vocabulary word. I can't even focus on what you're saying anyway, because now I got to write it down, figure out how it's spelled, look it up, and start trying to figure out how to use it in sentences myself. Um, to also lose people in my conversation.
So now you're all the way down that path and there's no way back.
So words are important, what we say, and then how we say it, right? My mom used to always say, Tiffany, it's not what you said, it's how you said it. And so the tonality of what we're saying as well, right? Like if we're not excited about our topic or we're not excited about what we're sharing, why should someone else be excited? Why should someone else care?
Right. Exactly. You're going to hear a theme in what I'm going to say next, but there's so much value in the follow up
You don't say,
because,
Donna.
yes, because when you meet virtually, you know, everybody plugs in for their hour or half hour or whatever the networking duration is. And then you log back off and you go on with all your crazy business throughout the day. And it is so easy to miss the follow up of those meetings.
Mhm,
And because you didn't meet in person, you didn't get that exchange of energy that has the same
mhm,
connection. And that requires more immediate follow up, I would say. And you're probably going to have to follow up maybe more than once. And what I mean is, you know, a great personal follow up. Hey, it was great seeing you on the Zoom. Today, I liked what you said about blah, blah, blah. Okay. And then maybe a week later, following up with them again, because life is different when you meet somebody virtually and network virtually. And it's so convenient that we just put it away in that little convenient file and move on with our day. So the follow-up is critical. And in our Bond and Beyond networking group, we have a Facebook group and we put up a post after every meeting that has people put what their referral ask was for that week. And it serves as a great reminder because we meet on Thursdays, but I don't usually look at those until Monday. By Monday, I have completely forgotten what everybody talked about. So for
right.
me, being able to go in and go, oh, yeah, that's what she wanted. Oh, yeah, that's what she wanted. Then it makes me more intentional about that connection that they wanted during my work week.
Well, and I think I feel flattered when people do follow up with me because I think on a Zoom call, it's easy to be like, oh, that's so cool. Oh, that's so interesting. I don't think it's not genuine, but I do think it's easier to say those things. And then when you don't follow up, I go, oh, you didn't really mean that.
Mm,
Oh, you weren't
mm,
really interested, you know? But
mhm,
when someone does
mhm.
follow up, either they were actually truly interested in my services or they really did want to have a further conversation about whatever we talked about. Maybe it was something, some value I was providing to them. But, I think that follow up is even more important virtually. And I think the other thing is that you don't have the business card to remind you. So
Right.
sometimes those pesky business cards are annoying to hold on to, but it does remind you, like, oh, I really need to follow up with this person. I really do need to connect with this person. And you don't get that from a virtual. So sometimes what I do is, the chat, you can either save the whole chat, which I'm probably not going to sift through it.
Right.
So what I do is I have a notes app on my computer. And so during the meeting, I will just copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste. And then after the meeting, I go in there and I'm like, okay, who did I want to connect with? And, what was it about? So there's ways to remind yourself about those connections that you want to make and then just follow through and do that because it's easier to forget faces in those virtual settings. You want to be extra clear in your power statement. Make sure you follow up, make sure that your follow up includes something like, you know, we were talking about X, Y, and Z at the meetup, and I am excited to further that conversation. Here's my scheduling link, or just Tuesday at 9 a.m. work at this coffee shop, those kind of things.
Mhm.
I also think in the follow up, it's easy to be like, let's connect in the future. That is very open ended and will go nowhere. Whereas if
Right.
you do say Tuesday at 9 a.m. at this coffee shop, does that work for you? That shows that you really do. You meant what you said and you want to follow through, and there's some urgency to it. Because, like we've talked before, the fruit is in the follow up.
Yeah, the face to face, bringing it in face to face shows that next step. I will admit something that when it comes to follow up, I am a bit competitive. Okay. And what I mean by that is,
You want to beat the other person?
I do. I want to be the first person to send that follow up message. If somebody sends it to me first, I'm like, oh, no.
Oh my
Um,
goodness, I
I
love
know.
that.
I know. So yeah, I had gone to an event and then the next day was super slam for me. And then the next day when I woke up, I was like, oh, I haven't sent my follow up and other people could beat me. So it was like the first thing that I did. I know.
Oh my
I know.
gosh.
It's so sad. I don't know. I'm so competitive about it. But yeah, I don't want them to beat me to the follow up. Yeah.
Love it.
You can tell what my priorities are, right? Um, so let's talk about what the challenges are and what the strengths are of each of these particular platforms. So, the strengths in person, you get that energy transfer, you get a deeper connection, you have the whole entire body language, and more memorable interactions. Virtual, you get convenience, which has been ringing loud and proud for a number of years, right? You get reach because you can connect with somebody that is not even geographically close to you.
Yeah.
And then you get the ability to potentially attend more frequently because it is more convenient.
Right. Right. Okay. So, love the strengths. Here are challenges. The challenges with in person: time and logistics, travel, childcare, schedules, all those kind of things that you have to think about. And with virtual, there's distractions, low energy. And I guess we didn't really touch on that, but I do think you have to bring more energy to a
Mhm.
virtual conversation and being forgettable if you don't follow up well. Like it's one thing to say all the things, but then you don't follow up and it falls flat. So, definitely pros and cons to both. And I would encourage both. And our networking group does both. We meet three
Mhm.
times virtually and one time in person. And that seems to be great that, it keeps the connections strong and we can have those one-to-one conversations within our group, but then we can also meet virtually and, kind of get the thing done, right? Like do the darn
Mhm.
thing, which is the
Mhm.
networking and getting the message out and reminding and staying top of mind. But I think those in-person meetings really reinforce all of our relationships.
I couldn't agree more. Both can work beautifully if you're intentional. The secret is to know the setting and then show up accordingly.
That's right, everyone. Put your best pressed outfit on, show up with confidence. If you've been hiding behind the screen, now is your time to get back in the room, put the shoes on, do your hair, put a little makeup on, show up with your confident energy, use your power statement, all the things, and stop hiding behind the screen, y'all. It's time to get in person. We appreciate both, but if you've settled into virtual, here's your kick in the pants to get in person.
And if you haven't been networking at all, then here's your kick in the pants to do something. It's about showing up, whether it's virtual or in person. Take that next step. You got to show up, you got to network. It's just the best way to build your business. So it's time for our networking mode on segment. Your networking mode on tip this week: choose one in-person event or one virtual group to show up to this month. Prep your power statement ahead of time. If it's in person, plan your presence, your outfit, your materials, your energy, what tip you may want to share with people. If it's virtual, prep your intro. Make sure your background is set up and get ready for that follow-up message. One space, one commitment, just show up. Networking mode on.
If this episode helped you decide on how you're showing up this month, send us a quick text using the link in the show notes. We'd love to hear which event you attended and cheer you on. We read every message, and you never know who we might be able to connect with. Let's keep building those powerful links together.
You've been hanging out in the Link Up Lounge, your lounge for turning one link into endless opportunities.
Now it's your turn. Go make a powerful link today.
Networking mode on.